I'm speaking about the Epstein files, but I'm not only speaking about the Epstein files. I want to tie some stories together. An ex-CIA chief, John Brennan, may have opened himself up to perjury charges. Actually, I believe he has. The CIA admits that a shadowy officer monitored Lee Harvey Oswald before JFK was assassinated. And frankly, the reasons may be justified for it, but there's a trust issue when it comes to these federal bureaucracies, especially these federal law enforcement agencies that have lost their way, in my opinion, over time. We've heard Stephen Friend, FBI whistleblower, on the program before, speak about how basically the FBI seemingly lost their way. It was relatively shortly after 9/11, and they started training their sights on Americans or domestic terrorists, particularly Barack Hussein Obama, and they lost their mission. That's when they started weaponizing the DOJ and some of these law enforcement agencies against American citizens. And frankly, it's because in essence, they had done a spectacular job. I mean, if you consider 9/11, the 9/11 era, for those of you that remember, that were around, it's so crazy because I remember it like yesterday. I never thought I'd sound like, of course, when you're younger, you don't. I would sound like one of these older people, like back in my day, Sonny, remember when 9/11? I mean, but it's crazy. I mean, you talk to some kids now in their 20s and they're, 9/11. Oh, no, I don't. I'm like, good God, it's so crazy. It's just weird, man. That's life, and that's how things happen. But I argue and I contend that the reason why so many of you listening are justifiably frustrated over the Epstein report is because of what can happen in the future if we don't get this deep state under control. And frankly, I've said it before, all right? If you have elections, if you don't have fair elections, nothing else matters. If you don't have the rule of law, nothing else matters because you don't have America. It's what separates America from the rest of the world. The reason why the Mamdanis, the Ilhan Omars of the world flee to the United States of America and then talk smack here frustrates the crud out of me. But the reason why people like them flee here or come here is because they don't have the freedom that we have here. Also, what they don't have is the rule of law that guarantees freedom for everybody. It's crazy what we're seeing. I want to play a couple video clips for you. This is cut number 7. If you could get that ready, Mr. McConnell. Levitt gets asked about from Peter Doocy on Fox News about the Epstein list. Here's how that went down. Cut number 7, por favor.
Jeffrey Epstein. According to the report, this systematic review revealed no incriminating client list. So what happened to the Epstein client list that the Attorney General said she had on her desk?
Well, I think if you go back and look at what the Attorney General said in that interview, which was on your network on Fox News.
Got the quote.
Go ahead.
John Roberts said, DOJ may be releasing the list of Jeffrey Epstein's clients. Will that really happen? And she said, it's sitting on my desk right now to review.
Yes, she was saying the entirety of all of the paperwork, all of the paper in relation to Jeffrey Epstein's crimes. That's what the Attorney General was referring to, and I'll let her speak for that. But again, when it comes to the FBI and the Department of Justice, they are more than committed to ensuring that bad people are put behind bars. They have an operation going on right now called Summer Heat, which has our murder rate trending.
Okay, so this is, and honestly, Trump was asked about this today as well in a press conference, and he was heated. He was disgusted that he got the question, which leads me to believe there may not be any there. But the problem is, again, they've got to close the gaps. They've got to close the holes. They've got to be able to explain this better. They've got to explain why there was a miscommunication. If in fact that's what it was between Pam Bundy and Kash Patel and Deputy Director Dan Bongino. They've got to be able to explain that to put people at ease. And I believe they have to do that so that people are able to continue to trust President Trump. I don't want him to take a ding because I think we've got a lot of work to continue to do. But I do sincerely believe, we've got to make sure that the deep state is cleaned up. And if you told people before the election, hey, we're concerned about this, and then you told people on day one, we're going to be doing this, this, and this to the FBI and all that, cleaning up these agencies, and then all of a sudden some of the big stories, you're like, there's no there. What happened? What happened? And I think ultimately, again, what I contend, the reason why people are so frustrated is because we've seen these institutions sicked on us. And frankly, it's part of the reason why I want them to go bye-bye. There may be some justification for, an FBI, if you will. But I believe after talking to Stephen Friend that honestly, you can take away the weapons, the sidearms from FBI agents. You can have them work with local sheriff offices, and you can cut the FBI down to virtually, you can skin it down like nobody's business. It doesn't have to be this major behemoth, but there are some things because of their resources that the FBI are able to work on specifically that local law enforcement, some cases may just be too big. But then I go back to, again, we've seen these institutions used against us. We've seen COVID lockdowns. We've seen how J6, mostly peaceful protesters, were treated compared to BLM rioters, compared to Antifa rioters, when most of them should have had trespassing charges, and then they got sicked on. They got prosecuted for insurrection in a way and charges that hadn't been used in, I believe, 100+ years. Absolutely insane. Again, you saw the DOJ sicked on President Trump. You saw the attorneys, the AG in New York City, Letitia James, and I forget the other gentleman. We've seen these things be weaponized against us. We witnessed the Russia collusion hoax, which we'll get to momentarily. We witnessed, you guys might remember, Alvin Bragg, thank you, Mr. McConnell. Alvin Bragg, the AG for New York City or Manhattan. We witnessed Governor Gretchen Whitmer and that fake kidnap hoax. All of these institutions. Stephen Friend was a part of that, by the way, and that's when he was like, enough is enough. I'm not down with this stuff. I'm not down, fake J6 cases as opposed to taking sexual predators off the streets that are trafficking minors and so on, et cetera. He had had enough, and he had become a whistleblower. But the truth of the matter is, here's what we know. If we were to lose in 2028, God forbid, and these institutions still have some crooked deep staters inside, you and I know that they're coming after us. That's what makes the Jeffrey Epstein story so big. It's actually not about Jeffrey Epstein. It's about us.
For full shows, live and on demand, it's Salem News Channel.